misery where the wanderers abound, I still love you more than anyone, with everyone around. And thus these words I sing to you and cast out into the night, to find their way through time and space and put me by your side. For in this world of Wibblry, I try my best to let you see this love I have, I swear is true. I hope you find the meaning by the time this story's through. Imagine, if you will, a young boy about 15 years old named Darby Leddick. Envision this boy living in the 1960s, and for many reasons, which we will describe in more depth, is depressed and suicidal. He is tired of being picked on by bullies, has moved 13 times from Germany to Bolivia and numerous other places, and changed schools some 11 times by then. He is alienated and alone, in a family with a dad in Vietnam and a mother partying with boyfriends. As the oldest son, he has had to play daddy to a younger brother and sister who, of course, didn't like him in that role. His depression had become overwhelming, taking him to extreme measures of escape, to the point that he was willing to give up his life in order to find out what the meaning of it was supposed to be about. Why had he been sent to this place of abuse and anger? Why keep struggling to be better in a world that seemed to only get worse? From the self-destructive sleep I'm in, give me the light, please come in the night and take me far from here. Left feeling under and I can't control. Can this be fixed? Well, I don't know. Is it the world that has broken into, or am I the fool? What am I doing with all of this time? I gather my wisdom and still see no light. Decipher these choices and still feel I'm on a fool's errand. Self-destructive sleep you're in. If I had the light, I'd come in the night and take us far from here. Left feeling under and I can't control. Can this be fixed? Well, I don't know. Is it the world that has broken into, or am I the fool? What am I doing with all of this time? I gather my wisdom and still see no light. Decipher the choices and still feel I'm on a fool's errand. basement bedroom with the windows blocked out and blacklight posters glowing on the wall, he laid in a twin bed with a balloon full of gas known simply as Freon 12. The large molecules of this gas coated the hemoglobin and blocked oxygen, effectively suffocating anyone who inhaled it. He was fed up with the life he had been born into. He wanted to know the meaning of life, but felt no one could help him. He did not want to go on depressed, beaten, alone, so he had decided to take leave of this life and go on to the next level, whatever that might be, in hopes of finding the meaning of it all. He slowly inhaled as much as he could of the gas from the balloon, nearly half of it, and held the top of the balloon closed as he laid on his back on the pillow and rested his hands on his chest as if in coffin position. After a couple of minutes, he exhaled the gas and immediately inhaled once more. The entire remainder of the balloon gushed into his young lungs to bind and block, to free him from the life that oxygen had brought. He felt himself fading and held on to the gas in his lungs for as long as he could once more. This time, though, when it seemed like he could hold no more, he envisioned his soul separating from his body, starting at his feet and coming up into his stomach and chest until he very slowly relaxed his throat and let the last of the gas escape, refusing to breathe back in again soon after, almost like turning off the lights. He felt himself escape through the top of his head, freed from his body, launched into the afterlife. But nothing was there when he left the flesh and feeling of his body. Gray, not a mist, not a rain, just gray everywhere. He was lost without anything to reference to, without a body, yet he felt like he could look around. He called out for help, except only his thoughts rang out. No voice, in fact no breath. He started to get scared. Is this it? Is this what comes next? Nothingness? Non-existence? He began to panic as it became real to him. Time seemed to have stopped, for there was nothing to reference to. He wanted to scream for help, but knew he had no voice. I think, therefore I am, or not, for there is no evidence of me, or anyone to be seen or know that I exist at all. How could this be? Where do I go? How do I see? Hello out there! Anybody here? He thought to himself, calling with his mind, without a voice or air to fill the lungs he did not have. This is going to be my eternity. Oh my God, what have I done? I exist, I think, yet why? For what? It seemed like hours passed, then days. Nothing changed. Once more he was depressed, more so than ever before, and now had no hope of changing it. time alone, I listen and grow to want once more to live, see, and breathe. My will, desire, take back and acquire a soul to set me free. Laid on the ground as she whispered softly and sang that song to me. And though the words meant nothing back then, now they're clear to me. Don't wait till the show is over. Remember you're part of the play. Don't wait till the show is over. To be a part is to be free. And sang that song to me. Though the words meant nothing back then, now they're clear to me. Apart, apart, I want to be apart, 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 I want to be apart. "Hello, Darby," came a tiny voice from what seemed like within his own head. Darby was startled, but called back. "Who's out there? Hello? Help me, I'm lost." His thoughts cried out with desperation as he wondered if the voice was real or just in his mind. There was no echo, no evidence that he existed in this void. No answer came back. Darby looked around. As if he had eyes, he tried to see everywhere, but it was just a gray nothingness, and he could look all around himself, above and below, or what seemed like up and down at least. Then, as if materializing out of thin air, a blue racing cap appeared. Then a pair of gold wire frame glasses, and a face. But not an ordinary face. It was an earthworm with a smile and eyes behind the glasses, as if a cartoon had come to life. "Hello there. My name is Rubbles." Darby was awestruck. He stuttered for a second as he tried to get his thoughts around this surrealistic scene. "What are you?" he asked, as if he had asked himself how any of this could be real. "Perhaps I am just hallucinating," he thought. "No, you did it. You are dead. Unfortunately, you did not finish your job on Earth, though, and this is your place for a millennium or two while things straighten themselves out," said Rubbles as he smiled at Darby. "What? This is it?" Darby exclaimed in disbelief. "It could be," said Rubbles casually, still smiling. "Tell me, though, if you knew the purpose for your life on Earth, would you dedicate your entire life to that purpose?" he asked with a soft voice and clearly baiting inflection. Darby thought for a minute as he repeated the question in his mind. He could not help but stare at this cartoonish earthworm with a name, hat, and glasses, asking him such a serious question. He looked around at the spot he was in and answered as anyone would. "Yes, I would, if only I were still alive to do so." What did he have to lose in saying that? It sounded like the right answer, he thought. "I can hear you thinking, you know, and I want your real answer, not one based on where you are now. Would you dedicate your whole life to fulfilling your purpose?" Rubbles was clearly more serious in his tone, and Darby suddenly realized he might be left alone again if he made Rubbles mad. "I mean it," he thought. "That's all I wanted to know before, but what does it matter now?" thought Darby. "I'm going to give you a gift, Darby, and tell you what your purpose was, and if you agree to give your heart and soul to this cause in a covenant you cannot break, I will give you another chance." Rubbles' voice was reassuring and believable, friendly and harmless. Darby listened intently. "I swear I would," he said in his mind. "You don't even know what it is yet," laughed Rubbles. "But I will tell you and see if you still want to go back." "Anything is better than this," thought Darby. "Perhaps," Rubbles continued. "You see, your job is to take Wibblry and Wub to the world of mankind known as Earth." "Huh? What is that? Wibblry? Wub? What? How do I take that to mankind?" Rubbles continued. "Wibblry is the language of Wub, and it is time for mankind to learn of it. You will be their teacher." His voice was serious, not joking, and he stared straight at Darby as if looking into his mind's eye and not blinking. "But why me? I'm a nobody. I'm just a poor kid and I don't even know anyone. No one will listen to me. Why me? I mean, what is Wub?" Questions just flew as his thoughts raced through his mind. "Trust me," said Rubbles. "You will be able to do it, but it will not be easy, and it will take your whole life to fulfill this task, this purpose that you sought to know." Darby felt somehow reassured by Rubbles' voice, as if he would somehow know what the future might hold. "So what is Wibblry and Wub about then?" he asked. Rubbles went on to explain, and Darby listened intently, wondering, as he learned, how could this all be real? Once finished telling Darby all the words and their meanings, Rubbles asked Darby if he understood what he had been told. "I remember what you said, but I'm not sure I really understand it all. How could something called Wub change the world? Who's ever going to believe me? And where do I tell them I learned it from? How do I convince them this is real, even?" "Hush now, Darby. Just trust that you will be able to do what needs to be done when the time comes," Rubbles assured Darby, and as if calmed by his voice like an elixir, Darby relaxed and thanked Rubbles for his patience, the chance, and promised to dedicate himself to this strange cause that seemed so surrealistic. Suddenly, Darby was back in his bed. The room was the same. The balloon was lying empty on his chest. He sat up abruptly and looked around. "Wow. What just happened?" he thought. "That could not have been real." Still, Darby got up and found some paper and pen to write down all that he had learned. And thus were the words of Wibblry and Wub first manifested and finally brought to earth just in time for what lay ahead. Of course, Darby had no idea, as he wrote these first words, just how time-sensitive his learnings were. He still did not fully understand the meaning of them all. He found a fresh journal he had been saving to start writing in for the new year and opened it up. He titled it, "The Book of Wibblry and Wub." At least that part was easy. Then Darby proceeded to write while the memory was still fresh in his head. back now to the warmth inside my home. I won't let your misery get me down. I finally found the will to live my life fulfilled. These new dreams of Wibblry and Wub, these strange words I've stuck inside my head. I met with death and remembered how to live, and I'll do my best to give. With purpose I can live new dreams of Wibblry and Wub. Now all those painful times, they take their toll. But would you rather live in hurt or not live at all? At last I feel and see the beauty staring back at me, a life of Wibblry and Wub, a life of Wibblry and Wub, a life of Wibblry